Hey, my name is Brett Hamilton, and in the next 5 minutes, we are going to go over what exactly needs to happen, what actually needs to happen in order for you to lose body fat. And I'm not specifically saying scale weight because there's a slight difference between the two, but in order to lose body fat. And my name is Brett Hamilton, and I help busy people just like you transform how they look, how they move, how they feel in the most sustainable way possible. And when I say sustainable, meaning that with the least amount of input possible so that it can be done over a long period of time. So to back up on this idea of what actually needs to happen to lose body fat on the scale, the simple answer is that you need to be in something called a calorie deficit. And a calorie deficit means that your body is taking in, you're ingesting fewer amounts of calories than you are expending through your activity level and just through your metabolism and how much it expends at rest. Okay. When all of that is put together, if you are expending more energy than you are consuming, you will become in a calorie deficit. So that needs to happen in order to help a person lose body fat, because if you're consuming fewer calories, what that means is that your body will then start to utilize your own fat stores for fuel, and that's a good situation to be in. Now, there are a lot of other variables that come into play with losing body fat and losing weight on the scale. And I'm trying to be overly simplistic here to just make it a really good illustration of what actually needs to happen. Now, the way that a person can achieve a calorie deficit is through many, many different means. One, you can increase your amount of activity level while continuing to eat the same amount of food. The other is you can maintain your same activity level and you can decrease the amount of food that you eat. There's lots of ways to do it. Some ways are going to be more effective than others based on where you're at currently. And that's not what I'm trying to get at here. Is I'm not trying to tell you what you should be doing. I'm just trying to share that is what needs to happen in order to see the change that you want to see. Now, if you want to see a consistent long-term change, sustaining a calorie deficit over a long period of time is ultimately what's going to be needed to see a massive transformation, not only in how a person looks and feels, but if you're looking to see a different weight on the scale, that's going to be required too. Making that process as sustainable as possible is very, very important. And that's going to be a topic for a different video. But achieving a consistent calorie deficit is the hard part for most people. And a lot of the time, most people don't really understand how much they need to be eating to be in a calorie deficit. And so in a lot of ways, we end up just guessing. And the problem with guessing is that it's inaccurate. And if we're going by feel, we're going by our intuition, a lot of times our intuition lies to us because our emotions are involved with our intuition. And if our emotions are telling us that we're feeling one way and what's actually happening is something different, but we don't have the information, the data to back that up, then we tend to go with our gut, our emotion. And a lot of times it's not completely accurate. And so that's why it's very important, if your goal is to sustain long-term fat loss on the or long-term sustainable weight loss, it's very important that you actually learn how much food that you really should be eating. Because if you don't know this amount, then it's very hard to sustain it over a long period of time. And so that'll be a topic for another day. But I hope this video was helpful in illustrating the overly simplistic nature of what needs to happen, because it is so much less about what food that you are eating than you think. And I will say this because I believe for a long period of time that what I was eating was the ultimate thing that was keeping me from achieving the results that I wanted to see personally. And it could not have been further from the truth. The exact opposite was true. It was absolutely the amount of food that I was eating that was keeping me from that. And once I figured out the amount of food and I was able to hit that amount every single day for a sustained period of time, then I was able to refine my food choices based on how they felt to my body. And I was able to come up with a system that worked for me and how my body responded to those foods, instead of listening to all of the crap that's out there telling you eat this, don't eat that. It was exhausting. And as soon as I got back to figuring out how much food I needed to be eating to achieve a calorie deficit, and then eating foods that I enjoyed within that amount, all of a sudden it became so much more simple than I had ever imagined it to be. So in the next video, we're going to go over knowing how much you need to eat and how to achieve that. Okay. So anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope this video was helpful.